So thank you again for joining us for today's webinar, where we'll focus on getting familiar with NHA's platform and website as a new administrative user. Here at NHA, we are fully invested in the success of you and your candidates. We take pride in doing what is right and are not afraid to use our voice if it moves the industry forward. We are here to help ensure that all of your learners, no matter their background or needs, feels confident and empowered to complete their required learning or earn their accredited certification. So let's do a brief introduction to NHA. But before we do, I wanted to take a moment to get to know you. So I'm going to launch a quick poll. So what option most closely ties to your role with your institution? So the poll should appear now on your screen. So feel free to answer, see which role fits you best. Okay, we have some educators with us today. That's great. Some administrators, program directors. I'm gonna wait a few more seconds. All right, so it looks like the majority of the attendees today are educators. Again, thank you so much for coming. During today's session, we're going to review NHA and the resources we provide. We'll walk through your access to the NHA website and how you can be fully enabled to run your program from there, and even do a live walkthrough before getting to Q&A. Remember to stick around with us through the end so you can be entered into the raffle. Now that we have seen a little bit about you, you should know that NHA is the largest frontline healthcare worker certification organization in the industry. With over 1 million certified candidates, we are the leading industry, and we use the resources and information from our experiences and learning partners to create learning materials that widen their skills and abilities within the health field and have shown to help candidates have a higher potential to earn their nationally accredited certification. Those resources come in many formats, starting with our nationally accredited certifications in 2 sections. 5 of the 8 certifications fall within the practitioner side of frontline healthcare, including medical assistant, phlebotomist, pharmacy technician, EKG, and patient care technician. There are also 3 certifications in an administrative capacity, which include billing and coding, medical administrative assistant, and e-health records. In addition, NHA develops comprehensive learning tools around key learning objectives for the healthcare professions we serve. These resources range from didactic learning in medical terminology or anatomy and physiology, to the development of essential soft skills, as well as clinical skills for medical assistants, administrative assistants, and pharmacy technicians. These can be used across the entire learner's journey and can be packaged together to provide a comprehensive experience from start to finish. So let's talk about the possible resources in a little more depth. But before we do, let me ask you one more question. What are you hoping to take away from today? So the poll should have popped up now. All right, we have some brand new people using NHA. Thank you for coming. Welcome. All right, we're going to give it a few more seconds. All right, looks like we have a good spread of, how to get my learners started in the materials, and some people that are brand new on NHA and you want to know everything. All right, well, let's cover everything. You should have already received a confirmation email from nhanow.com with a prompt to set up your administrative login. If you haven't seen this, check your spam box or junk mail. This email will walk you through the first steps to set up your administrative login, which you can access at nhanow.com. Once logged in, you have access to almost everything you could need to manage your learners and account from the home screen. This is your dashboard and is broken into two main categories. The center of the screen will provide you quick access to NHA's supplemental resources. The first link under Get Started will take you to the test plans for all of NHA's 8 nationally accredited exams and are available to download from this first link. This is an important area for you to know what NHA's exams will cover and to provide information to your candidates. We know this is important for you both. Which leads me to call out some information around a study NHA completed recently from over 6,000 candidates across the country to try and uncover what the common themes are for what the biggest hurdles were for them to take their NHA exam. So let's take a poll, right? So out of the option listed, let me just open up the poll real quick. What do you think is the most common issue for candidates to apply for an NHA exam? You don't think they meet the exam eligibility requirements, or that don't see the value in earning a certification, or test anxiety and or low confidence to pass? All right, I'm going to give it a few seconds. So the answer was test anxiety, which we know can be addressed through preparation. This is one of the many reasons why it's a best practice to get your candidates into their NHA accounts as soon as possible. We'll be sending them welcome emails and information on preparing for their exams. Here are just some of the hundreds of comments from that survey that focused on uncertainty, not just around general anxiety, but not knowing if they're prepared. Have they learned all the things they need? And worry about making it through the timed exam. Providing the exam test plans and NHA's resources or learning tools have shown to make a positive impact. So, going back to the other resources to help with all of this in your get started area. These may rotate throughout the calendar year to provide you access to quick links around the first steps and frequently asked questions, as well as resources on testing or implementing NHA's materials. Scrolling down your page will show you some of the most used how-to resources that will walk you through the administrative steps you would need to manage your NHA account. This is where you can do an open search for any resource you may need or look through the 6 core areas of resources, including preparing learners to test, exam day troubleshooting, and supplemental implementation guides. Any of the implementation tools you may need, specifically any of our learning resources implementation guides, and these guides are available to you and will outline the content, implementation suggestions, and even the average time it should take for a candidate to navigate through the study materials. You can see here a snapshot across just 4 of our 8 certifications, the time it will take an average candidate to work through just the study tutorial portion, which can range widely. These guides are available for any of NHA's learning tools. The Library of Resources has additional tools for you as well. Searching through this page will take you to video guides and PDFs to help you with the mechanics of the website, including setting up the learning content, providing access to candidates, opening exam dates, viewing reports, and monitoring applications and results. Even tools to share with your learners to help them through their preparation process. The NHA exam online study materials are based on the NHA test plan for that certification and includes an interactive study guide as well as a series of practice tests designed to look and feel just like the exam. This package also provides the NHA Focus Review, a personalized study feature to help candidates as they navigate through their practice tests. These should be assigned digitally to each candidate so they can move through the materials on their own, as well as provide adequate reporting for both group and individual learner growth. The focus review is a secondary tool, which is separate from the study guide and is specific to each practice test attempt to help candidates focus further on these areas that they may still be struggling in. Those learning tools are available for preparing for any of the NHA exams. Now let's review the other learning materials available from NHA. Starting with core learning, NHA has learning content focused on either anatomy and physiology or medical terminology. These address just the right amount of content for learners in entry-level roles through interactive and engaging online materials. NHA has a full pharmacy technician suite of materials that start with inherent learning on becoming a pharmacy technician through the pharmacier. Though mapped to NHA exam, it is designed to meet the ASHP didactic standards for learning in this critical role. We also have primary learning tools on medical math, dosage and calculations in the pharmacier math. There are skill developers for your medical assistants as well, which include the MA Skills Builder Clinical and Clinical Plus. These provide an interactive learning experience that help develop and execute 39 clinical competencies employers are needing in an entry-level medical assistant. And in the Clinical Plus, also address the core foundational knowledge necessary behind those skills. In NHA's Medical Administrative Assistant, skill developers, the MA Administrative and Administrative Plus, focus on the technical and job-ready knowledge to handle front and back office administrative responsibilities in skill development and core knowledge. Though we know the clinical skills are essential, administrative duties are a large part of the MA's role. These tools is also applicable for your office administrative staff. Additional skill developers or career laddering options include upskilling in professionalism, starting with personability. This is available in both the clinic and pharmacy setting and uses online simulations and role play to develop abilities in teamwork and emotional intelligence and communication. You can ladder further by leveraging principles of health coaching, another immersive learning tool with realistic scenarios to continue the learning in communication, but also population health management and motivational interviewing. If you are in a patient-centered care environment, any member of the care team would deepen their understanding of what it means to work in this quality versus quantity environment by using the assessment-based certificate program, team-based care. For all of NHA's core learning resources and for some of our exam materials, we also provide implementation toolkits that can provide downloadable and editable PowerPoint presentations aligned to the core learning, optional lesson plans outlining the core content and suggestions for implementation, optional additional testing banks and resources to implement, additional activities to help scrub and polish the learning, walkthrough videos unique to the product content, and mapping resources to accreditations, textbooks, and test plans. In fact, we have mapping resources for our exam preparation resources too, found near the implementation guides called alignment guides. These are unique to the certification type and include an outline of the full test plan, identifying how many scored questions there will be on the exam in each domain. This also will map out where in the NHA study guide that content is covered, and if there are any additional resources within that learning content to help with the process, including videos and games. This is a wonderful tool to use to align to your students' learning, as well as review your program content to ensure there aren't any large gaps in the learning materials. There are also open columns as well, so you can plug in where in your book, week, or program you are covering the core content. NHA has full program maps that you could use to implement any or all of these products and help with the learner journey from start to finish. Here is one of our examples for a medical assistant pathway, but we have many different versions. If you would like to know more about these, reach out to your NHA representative. So we're going to take a quick moment and see if there have been any major questions regarding any of the resources we just walked through. Team, is there any questions we would like to address? All right, so it's the golden silence, the golden rule right there, 7 seconds, no questions. That's great. So now I know that that was a lot we just covered. That survey link you'll get at the end of today's sessions. Be sure to note if you'd like anyone to follow up with you directly on any of the resources we're reviewing. Your NHA contact will be able to follow up with you with more information and answers. Now that we've seen your resources, let's talk about your access to the website and even get into that live demonstration. So we've reviewed the resource part of the dashboard. The other option of the NHA website is on the left-hand side in your navigation bar. This is where you can find your administrative shortcuts from you viewing your inventory and creating your courses, to pulling reports for your program and study materials, monitoring candidate applications and exam results, and depending on your role, adding or removing additional administrative users. And even viewing your exam calendar, creating test dates, and proctoring the exam. In fact, right from here is where you can get your learners started with creating their personal logins. You can invite them to set up their logins well before providing any learning resources through the account invitation feature right from your home screen, helping to ensure that all is ready to go when it's time to start their studying. As I mentioned earlier, it is best practice to get your learners set up as early as possible in their personal accounts. We have seen that statistically, those who do are more likely to take their NHA certification as well as earn their certification. All right, let's get into that live walkthrough. I'm going to let me open up the screen I need. And there it is. All right, so we're going to begin with the Help Center, right? So I'm logged in right now as the instructor for the Client Experience Institution. So how are we going to get to the Help Center? We're going to click this button here, and it's going to take us to NHA's main website. So from here, we have the Help Center here. We have an available Help Center here. We have to reset your password, any FAQs, to view any technical requirements. And if you have any learners with a learning disability, you can just click this here to get that form. And if you want to talk to someone directly, you can just click this button and it will give you our contact information. But if you just want to chat with someone, do a quick chat, we have this chat button available, right? So if you were to click this button, all you got to do is input your name, email, and the subject. Someone will get back to you within 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute. All right, you'll be able to chat with someone and discuss any issues you might have. So before we create courses, it is important to make sure that we have enough inventory, right? So all we got to do is click this inventory button. So from here, I can see I have enough to invite 9 students to my CCMA course. All right, so now that we have enough, how are we going to create that course, right? We're going to click this courses button. And to create a course, all you got to do is click this button right up here where it says new course. And then you got to name your course something that is going to change every year. Name your course. And this is going to be course 2023. So next year, you're going to name your course 2024 or something like it. All right, you're going to do a start and end date. And then you're going to select your course materials, right? So I have enough for my CCMA, like I said, CCMA, CCMA. You're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and then click Create Course. Once you create your course, you're going to back to courses here, and it's going to appear here under View Active Courses. If you don't want a course in here anymore, it's last year's course or 2 years ago, and you want to start cleaning up your main screen, you're going to go to Course Details. And then you're going to click this Archive Course button. So just note that once you archive a course, it cannot be undone. And archiving a course does not remove any learners in that course. All it does, it prevents new learners to be added to that course. So now that we have our course created, how are we going to add our students, right? All you got to do is come right up here and click where it says roster. Make sure you click your course. I'm going to click roster here. And then right up here, you're going to click invite candidates. And you're going to start typing in the emails. Make sure you either use a comma or a line break between emails if you're going to add more than one. Right? And then you're going to click check addresses. All right, so in the back end, it's going to check making sure that there's not already an NHA account or making sure that it's a valid email. And then the learners are going to receive that notification, hey, you've been invited to this course. Click here to access or click here to create an account. So now that your students are done with this learning journey and they're ready to test, well, you have to create that exam. And you're going to come right up here where it says exams. The first button you're going to click is you're going to click upcoming exams to make sure there's not already an exam scheduled for that date. So for example, I'm going to go all the way up to 90 days. I already have an exam scheduled on the 30th and on the 3rd. Well, I want to schedule an exam on the 16th. You're going to click this button where it says request new exam. So you're going to click here, exam date. I said the 16th. Application deadline needs to be 8 days or more from the exam day. So if the 16th is the exam day, November 8th will be the last day a learner can apply. For exam details, you're going to input here, the location and the time of the exam if you want. It's not a required field, but this is where you can put that information. We're going to click purchase order number. It's not utilized for all institutions. And then the number of available computers. This is where you'll put how many computers you have on your lab, in your lab, computer lab, right? So if you have 10 students testing, 10 computers available, that's great, right? So you have enough for all students to test. And then you're going to select the exam, which is the CCMA exam. All right, so then you're going to click request exam date, and then it will automatically appear under the upcoming exams tab. It'll tell you the exam date, when the application deadline is, how many students have applied, testing method will always be online, and if it's still open for registration, and the exam type. Well, we have one application here. I want to know who that is. I have 3 students in this class, and I want to know what 2 students are missing. To be able to track your learner's application status is click here where it says view exam applications. We're going to scroll down and we're going to take a look at the first party applications. And here you'll be able to see who the student is, and then you can take notes on the students that are missing. The status here needs to say either confirmed, that means that the roster is closed and it's been approved, or pending approval. If the application status says new or unpaid, that means that that learner did not finish the application process. All right, this is where we're going to end our live walkthrough. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and my team will be able to answer them for you. And one of the biggest items we haven't covered today is on reporting resources, but we will be holding additional webinars, some focusing just on these tools. So for now, you'll know that the moment a candidate accesses their study materials, no matter their learning content, a report will begin to load. These include filterable tools, downloadable PDFs, and deep analytics to provide you clarity in your learner's process. NHA's Learning Insights Center has reports that highlight, among other things, progress through the modules, performance in assessments, and time spent in study. Again, today's webinar is not about that content, but we will hold others. So keep an eye out in the upcoming events page to register for future sessions. As a reminder, NHA wants you to be able to address your questions when they happen. We've already reviewed the how-tos and the knowledge center, but please know these self-guided resources are your first line of defense for both you and your students on what to do and the mechanics of how our resources and website work. There's tons of great stuff in here to use throughout the program, including a best practices video to share with your students using their prep materials. If the answer you need isn't found here, then please use our client care team. They are the live chat and help center phone line and are available extended hours, but not 24. This means that you and your students don't have to wait until your NHA contact is free to answer any questions that are urgent. This group of people are incredible. Their goal is to answer your questions and will stay on with you as long as you need. So please have some patience during peak call times. In addition, you have your NHA account representative. If you don't know who your personal contact is, please be sure to include an inquiry that in that survey we'll be posting soon. They are here to help with all other tools and resources and to ensure you have everything you need to be successful and empower your learners to earn their certification. If you or your institution would like any additional training, either as a group or individually, your client executive can connect with the client experience team to get something scheduled for you. So revisiting our initial ask of the items you were hoping to learn today, please select as many of the items that you now feel more confident in navigating for yourself. All right, so the poll just popped up right now on your screen. Feel free to answer if you'd like. All right, we got a few responses. Again, thank you so much for answering these questions. All right, a few more seconds before I close. I see that somebody put other on here. If you can please put what other things you would like to learn in the chat. So before we get to Q&A, I wanted to reiterate that this has been recording. Anyone who registered for this session will receive the recording from today's webinar. If we can't or haven't addressed your question in the Q&A at the end of today, we'll be capturing all questions and we'll work hard to get in touch with you directly for additional assistance. Also, I wanted to take a moment to make sure you all know how thankful we are for you. I want to personally thank you for all that I know that you're doing and for being here with me today. You work incredibly hard, and we all know that you are truly heroes. Every day putting yourselves out there and working crazy hours. So from all of us to you, thank you so much. All right, so before we wrap, let's open it up to the Q&A. And if Lauren, can you do me a favor and put the survey in the webinar chat? If you guys can take the time to answer that survey while we're doing Q&A, that'd be great. Thank you, Lauren. All right, team, do we have any questions we'd like to address?
Yeah, this is Mary. We haven't had that many questions come in that we weren't able to answer, and they seem to be more specific to that client. So I think we are in good shape. If anybody has any questions now, they can put them in Q&A, and our chat is now open as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to wait a few seconds for you to put more questions in the Q&A if you'd like. And then somebody put on here, who is my representative? We're definitely going to write down your information and we're going to reach out to make sure that you have your representative's email at least.
Diego, there have been no further questions.
Oh, we have some coming in. Last minute questions. So Anna, how do I create an admin account? So an admin account will be created for you by your NHA rep once you have everything. And then you will also, or someone from your institution can add you to the account to create an admin. Okay, just make sure that when you create your admin account, you use a different email if you already have a candidate account. Okay, you can't use both. You can't use the same email for both. All right. So if you don't have an NHA partner yet, we're definitely going to get your information so that we can have somebody contact you. And then somebody posted a question, but it disappeared. Let me see. So is there a number for numbers of students testing? There isn't. I'm not 100% sure, but if you have more than 25 students testing, you need to have 2 proctors. Team, do you know if there is an exact number?
It should be one proctor per 25 people.
And is there a limit to the number of students that can test?
There's not one listed in the candidate handbook. It just states that there should be, again, the one proctor per 25 students.
Perfect. All right. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you, Connie.
Sure.
And on that also, we don't recommend that the candidates take more than 2 exams in one day.
Great point, Mary. All right. So if there are no further questions, oh, here comes some more. Yeah, so they get a total for their practice tests. They get a total of 6 attempts, and there are 3 different versions of a practice test, right? So it's version A, B, and C, and each one of those versions can be taken twice. All right, we're going to wait a few more seconds for any of those last-minute questions. All right, so it looks like that's the last of it. No more questions coming through. So again, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. Anybody that registered for this webinar will receive that recording. All right, thank you so much and have a great day.